Howdy out there, everyone. Today we're going to take a quick look at this forgotten film called Sorcerer, which actually, the title itself is really unremarkable, and I think that's part of the problem. The movie, most famously or infamously, was released, I believe, right around the same weekend as Star Wars, and of course Star Wars just gobbled up all of the box office receipts when it came out, and this movie was left to languish and die an early death in cinemas just a few weeks later. But it's unfortunate because I think this movie is quite good and definitely shows again what a remarkable filmmaker William Friedkin was. He put a movie together here that just feels every bit like sort of a Werner Herzog live action piece of fiction with the typical sort of documentarian style flourishes, terrific acting, and just some jaw-dropping practical effects. This movie looks stunning, and it's all in camera, which is just even more impressive given what they're able to accomplish on screen. Apart from that, I would just say that this Blu-ray, of course, was, I believe, released by Universal, and doesn't have any special features, sadly, but there are plenty of interviews and things like that on YouTube that you can find about this movie that will sort of flesh out its very interesting backstory. But again, I think that you would be hard-pressed to find a better looking, more accomplished suspense action film that's got everything in camera. I think it's a stunning picture, quite frankly. Now, it does take a little getting used to when you drop in on what I believe are 4 different people, different parts of the world, very disparate characters who all, for varying degrees, end up running afoul from the law and find themselves sort of exiled in this Latin American country that doesn't actually ever get named, but essentially they're all living kind of off the grid, trying to avoid being captured by the authorities, and they're given an opportunity to do something for their host country, sort of a suicide mission, quite frankly, to transport some nitroglycerin 200 miles across rough roads to attempt to seal off this well that exploded in this oil field. So that's basically the setup. 4 disparate people taking an opportunity to sort of get their lives in order and maybe get a fresh start with the money that they would earn from this job, and in hopes of succeeding in a almost Sisyphean task. It's obviously got a lot to say about the human condition and about whether you can ever really have control over your life or not. I think it's a terrific piece of cinema, and one that absolutely deserves to be rediscovered. And thankfully, it has been receiving a little bit more talk of late, and I think that's largely due to the growing community of cinephiles who are going back and looking at these films from the 70s, especially, that would have gotten perhaps overlooked. Another one that comes to mind is Straight Time with Dustin Hoffman, which I found that to be a terrific piece of filmmaking as well, and very evocative of what Michael Mann would later do with his films. But in any case, William Friedkin, of course, most famously known for The French Connection and The Exorcist. He really just makes a remarkable film that sadly just wasn't seen upon its initial release, but I think has grown to become a very talked about cult favorite. And I want to lastly just point out too that the score by Tangerine Dream is terrific. They went on to score many films in Hollywood, and remarkably so. And I think that this is no exception. So, Sorcerer, give it a look. And this Warner Brothers Blu-ray looks good. I believe it actually was based on a 4K scan of the original camera negative, although don't quote me on that. So, on that note, please take care out there, everyone. Stay safe, be kind, and by all means, keep watching good cinema.